Space. From the dawn of time, every human has looked up at the stars and wondered what is out there. James T. Kirk spoke of it in Star Trek. And now, with the James Webb Space Telescope, we may be able to solve these mysteries. But what is so special about this telescope? The James Webb Space Telescope, also known as the JWST, arguably could be the key to determining life on other planets. But that is not all. There is so much more to know about this unique telescope. Welcome back to Facts Fanatics. We are dedicated to bringing you the most shocking and downright unbelievable real-life incidents that stunned the world. Today, we will review some of the most interesting and widely unknown facts about the world-famous and technologically innovated James Webb Space Telescope. Before we do, please take a moment to like and subscribe so that we can continue to provide you with exciting stories from the pages of history. Okay, spaceheads and sci-fi fans, strap in. This one is for you. Let's get into it. While the JWST is the world's most powerful telescope, most people don't quite understand the sheer magnitude of the telescope's capabilities. The JWST can capture images of space objects up to 100 times less bright than those caught on the Hubble telescope. To give you another perspective, the JWST could see every little intricate detail on a penny from 24 miles away. It's like having an original iPhone camera compared to the iPhone 14. The telescope's four-instrument design, which includes near and mid-infrared cameras and spectrographs, reproduces the deepest corners of space in a previously unheard-of high resolution. It allows us the first real chance to study areas of the universe millions of light years away as if we were close up and personal. Here are some images captured of the universe by the JWST compared to the Hubble telescope. The images are simply spectacular of things such as galaxies merging. Also, imagine if that lens was directed at a planet far away. For example, here are a few new images from NASA taken by the JWST of Jupiter. The JWST was first proposed in 1996. However, it needed a ton of technological innovation before developers could reach a stage where its construction could begin. It took a whopping 26 years to get the telescope from a proposal stage to an official deployment. It was initially scheduled to deploy in 2007. However, the mission was rescheduled many times due to the high costs associated with its construction. At one point, the entire project was questioned as worth the effort. In 2018, as the telescope was showing real promise, it suffered several malfunctions during testing, and engineers identified over 300 potential failure points during their troubleshooting. Morale around the project grew dim, but NASA kept at it, and on Christmas Day of 2021, the JWST officially launched. The initial project named the telescope the Next Generation Space Telescope. It was renamed after NASA's second administrator, James E. Webb, in 2002. Webb served as administrator of the organization from 1961 to 1968 and was widely known for leading NASA to a solid footing for the first time. Before his leadership, NASA was seen as a disorganized group without a true vision. Webb flipped the script and helped craft NASA into the powerhouse it would eventually become. He oversaw famous NASA missions such as Gemini, Mercury, and Apollo. As you may know, the universe is big, like really big. So big, that is, that the stars we see in the night sky here on Earth are actually the ghosts of stars that existed long ago. They exploded so far from Earth that it's taken centuries for their light to be viewable in the Milky Way. As these emitted lights travel further and further through the universe, they enter the infrared spectrum, which is the exact spectrum the JWST excels at capturing. This means that the telescope captures the first stars that were created in high definition. It can even look as far back as around the time of the Big Bang. Scientists then utilize these images to get an excellent look back into the history of the universe and study their patterns and makeup in depth. In fact, The JWST has found an undiscovered country of early galaxies existing close to the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago, a feat that no instrument has ever done. And that task was accomplished a mere day after it was switched on. If you've seen renderings or images of the James Webb Space Telescope, you probably noticed its unique and futuristic design. Its mirrors alone measure nearly 22 feet in diameter, and the heat shield measures roughly 46 by 71 feet. The telescope is the largest ever built. The telescope is so large that the engineering team at NASA had to get creative to launch it into space. They realized that for it to properly function, they could not assemble it in space, and they would have to launch it fully assembled. While the room on board a rocket is considerably large, there was no chance that the JWST would fit as initially proposed. So NASA came up with a brilliant solution. The telescope was tweaked to allow it to fold up like the world's most expensive piece of origami. Once the telescope was successfully launched into orbit, it took 2 whole weeks for all of its pieces to unfold and become operational. The size wasn't the only problem NASA faced when building the solar system's largest telescope. Due to the size of its mirrors, NASA had to work on a way to lighten the weight load. Otherwise, the mirrors would be too heavy to launch into space using existing technology used on the Hubble telescope. So, NASA designed the mirrors from beryllium. Beryllium is very strong, yet light, and can hold its shape at extremely low temperatures. With weight and size problems solved, NASA faced another problem: reflectivity. NASA needed to make the mirrors reflect the maximum amount of light. So NASA came up with a solution that might make a James Bond villain hatch a complicated heist. That is because all the mirrors are also made of gold. Gold is exceptionally reflective of visible and infrared light and other forms of radiation. For example, our mirrors on Earth are made of silver or aluminum and reflect anywhere from 85 to 95% of infrared light. Gold, however, reflects 99%. And unlike silver, it won't tarnish easily. However, before someone decides to hire Goldfinger to try and steal the gold, there's not that much gold on the mirror despite its massive size. The gold layer weighs only 48.25 grams and is only 100 nanometers thick, or roughly 1/10,000th the thickness of a human hair. In other words, if you went to a pawn shop with that much gold, you would walk out with about $3,600 if you were lucky. The JWST maintains a temperature of a bone-chilling -330 degrees Fahrenheit. This is colder than liquid nitrogen. Due to the James Webb Space Telescope's resilience upon the latest infrared technology for capturing its high-quality deep space images, any sort of heat signature introduced to the telescope would render it useless. Thus, exposure to the sun could alter the temperature. In order to maintain this temperature, the telescope is outfitted with a whopping 5-layered protective film that serves as a heat shield from the sun's radiation. The telescope also has to remain in the shade from the sun's direct glare at all times, or else the light and heat emitted will cause the JWST to malfunction. In order to be in the shade, it can only see 40% of the sky at any one time. So not only is the JWST really cool, it is literally cool. No matter how interested you are in space and space-related developments, the prospect of finally finding other living beings out there in the great beyond is seriously exciting. The JWST serves as the best tool ever introduced by NASA to study the planets. More specifically, the JWST is used to getting close-up looks at distant planets in search of pockets of potential alien life building blocks like water, carbon dioxide, and methane. By analyzing the light emitted from the world, the telescope will be able to take quality recordings of its chemical makeup. In fact, the telescope has already discovered the first clear evidence of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of an exoplanet, WASP-39b, a planet outside of our solar system approximately 700 light-years from Earth. Part of how it accomplishes this mission is the location of its orbit. It sits in a stable orbit about 1 million miles or 1.6 million kilometers from Earth. To give you perspective, Elon Musk's Starlink satellites are in orbit around Earth at 342 miles or 550 kilometers from Earth, and GPS satellites are in medium Earth orbit at about 10,900 nautical miles or 20,000 kilometers from Earth. From what we've already seen, the fact that the James Webb Telescope was not cheap may not come as a surprise. We already know that the gold wasn't what broke the budget. By the time final construction was completed, the telescope had run up charges in excess of $10 billion. Let's put that in perspective. $10 billion is more than the GDP of many of the world's nations, such as Chad, Guam, and Haiti. Pretty impressive, right? However, while the end cost was high, the JWST only ranks 5th on a list of NASA's most expensive endeavors to date. By the way, if you're curious about the most costly project, well, that distinguished honor belongs to none other than the NASA Space Shuttle program, which cost just over $200 billion. There you have it, some of the most interesting and relatively unknown facts about the ultra-powerful James Webb Space Telescope. The device is truly a modern marvel and now represents the best chance we have in this lifetime at finding signs of alien life and gaining a whole new level of information on our grand and ever-expanding universe. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want more content, just like it and subscribe. Your subscribing is really helpful to make sure that we can continue to provide such content. Until next time.